the third of Ravel's Greek songs from soprano Isabel Bayrakdarian here in town to perform with the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra and here in the studio to chat with little old me. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's so
rain and all.
You know, yeah, it's a bit gloomy outside, but you know, you bring such sunshine into our music community.
Thank you so
always,
much.
always. You were here last in 2014 performing Troubadour, we think.
Yes.
Isabel.
For sure.
The work by your husband, right? Who's
Yes.
an arranger, pianist, composer. You two are an incredible force to be reckoned with. So hey, let's start this off with, of course, the novel question. You didn't start as a musician, right?
Question. I love that.
Well, it is.
No,
I mean, for those of us who come into music late, I mean, well, I was, you know, I'm one of those kids who was going to go do science and then ended up in music as well. So, but you actually finished a degree in science before you went into music.
I did.
And that was in Toronto.
Yes. I got into biomedical engineering because honestly, at 17, what do you know about yourself?
Right.
You don't. You don't. I mean, you're for a singer. I mean, the voice is you haven't trained it to know if you have the potential to do it. Okay, I mean, you can love a lot of things, and I did. I loved a lot of things, not just not just music, not just singing, not just playing. I'm very good at fixing things, and I knew I could be an engineer, but I loved sports. So, you know what I mean? I think we are all put at a very unfair disadvantage at 16, 17 in high school when we were asked to choose what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And at that time, the only logical thing was engineering. And I was very good at it. And I had a full scholarship. There weren't many women in engineering. It all was like, oh, it's a perfect fit. And then I started to take singing lessons because, you know, at 17, it's a good time to start taking singing lessons, I think, in my opinion. And that kind of took a life of its own. A lot of people ask what it was like. And I say, I think one of the main reasons for me succeeding in music was the fact that there was no expectation at the beginning. You know what I mean? I just did it because I loved it. And I loved it with passion. I just wanted to be perfect at it. I just wanted to perfect it. Not for any ulterior reason like, ooh, fame, ooh, a fortune, or just to be there was no competition with anybody except with myself. I wanted to be the best I could be. So I had no outside pressure, which meant that I could fall while taking risks, and I really didn't have to prove anything to anybody except myself. So that kind of a light start just allowed me to enjoy it and do it for the enjoyment of it. And I must say, I've been doing this professionally now for 17 years. And to this day, it does not feel like work. It doesn't feel like work. I love what I do. Every single project that I choose because it brings me immense inner satisfaction, immense growth. It's just a blessing to do what I do. It felt like that at the beginning. It still feels like that. And I still happen to be good at a lot of other things too. You know, it's not to say one has to be good at just one thing, but this one, it just, you know, when I sing, it just, honestly, my spirit is let loose. My spirit sings, and it's just, that's the one that's reaching out to each and every one of my audience members and communing with your souls. It has nothing to do with me, Isabel. You know what I mean? It's a soul that's wiser than me. That's been before. It will be in the future. It's on a very spiritual level. Every performance is just a huge sense of freedom and sharing. So. Honestly, this passion in the beginning is the same as it is now, and engineering just happened to be a wonderful, how should I say, a backup plan when I was starting out in the business of singing. Because I always said, you know, opinions. This is all based on opinion. You might like my voice. Another person might not like it. That's not to say they don't know what they're talking about. Right. No, it's just they don't like it. It's we have choice. We have the freedom to choose, right, as human beings. And in each one, everybody's opinion is valid. But if you live your life trying to please everybody, you do it for a while, and then you become sad. and sadder and sadder, and then bitterness comes in, and then resentment, and then you see nothing is working out. So to me, from the beginning, I'm just verbalizing it right now, but at that time I think I just instinctively felt that if for some reason it didn't work out, you could not like my voice, but you know what? You can't take my mind away. I'm still the same smart engineer. So that kind of initially gave me this huge invisible strength to not care about opinion.
Because there was nothing you needed to lose.
Yes, I was
because you had whatever you needed.
I loved myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly did. I just.
If only everyone could love themselves. Really,
you know what I mean? But
the world would be a better place.
True. I don't say this arrogantly, please. You know,
no,
it's not. I had accepted myself in such a positive light. Just like
it's very zen.
I can do so many things. I choose to follow this. Which is bringing me so much joy. But you know what, God, if that didn't work out, I have other things to fall back on, other wonderful talents and gifts. And I believe that in every one of us. You know, I teach at University of California in Santa Barbara. And not everybody who comes through my studio is meant to be in this professionally, you know, to be singing professionally, but they love music. So what do you do in that case? You make sure that they're good musicians, because if you're a good musician, you can accomplish a lot of things in life, not necessarily related to music, because, you know, music just refines your soul. It does. You just become a better person, period.
Well, when you're analyzing these distillations of reality that these composers concoct, you know, and you're psychoanalyzing them, then you gain perspective on your own life and the lives of others. But you know what? David Jalbert, who you very well may know, he was in the studio earlier, and I was reading an old interview of his before he came in. And in one of his older interviews, he said, music is the most tangible form of spirituality. Does that resonate with you?
There's a lot of truth in that, for sure. Nature also has a way.
Of course.
Spirituality.
Definitely.
So many of other things in life, but music is so unique. It's vibration. It's our own personal vibration. Very, very unique. Each one of us has a very different vibration, for sure. But life is just so, universe is huge.
So multifaceted, so enigmatic, and worth discovering at every moment. Wow. Okay. Wow. Profound moments with Isabel Bayrakdarian in the Diamond Lane with me, your host, Sarah Jo. She is performing tomorrow night at Westminster United Church with the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra, a beloved chamber orchestra who you work with so often. Let's talk a little bit about your relationship with the MCO.
Fantastic. It feels like it's a second home to me. I love the MCO. Each one of them, you know, today was our first rehearsal. It was like group hugs. I've toured with them. I've recorded with them. I've sung with them so many times. And they always sound amazing. And they're such a nice group of people. And I just love and adore and respect Anne Manson, like, to bits. And
she's a beast.
She's amazing. And the lightness, the vibrancy she brings to the orchestra is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Every time I hear a singer with her, I mean, any soloist, really, it doesn't matter who they are, but she has this magical ear. She just has a magical ear. Balance is never a problem with her. And that is the hugest thing with ensembles when you know, for singers especially. Yeah, absolutely. But with you, I remember seeing the premiere, well, maybe not the premiere, but maybe the premiere of Troubadour Isabella, which your husband wrote, which I played a little bit of, actually, just on the other side of the later part of the 4:00 hour. You know, you have this incredible gift for language, which is the other thing that I want to touch on before we talk about the program that we can expect to hear. You are a multilingual person, a polyglot. You were born in Lebanon, and you're Armenian in heritage. Is that right?
Yes.
And you've sung in how many different languages?
However many that's needed.
Right. Well, the Occitan from Troubadour,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then these Sayat-Nova
They're Armenians.
songs.
They're Armenians.
Those are in Armenian. Okay, amazing. I happened to be in Lebanon last year for the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide.
Oh,
I mean, I was
wow.
there to sing, but but it's an incredible story, and it's a beautiful place. Where in Lebanon were you born?
Zahle, in the Bekaa Valley.
Okay, beautiful.
Not too far. I mean,
Well,
when we were young, it was so far from Beirut, but
Yeah, Lebanon is like this
yes,
big.
I know, right?
But that's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then after you moved to Canada, I mean, of course that and started singing, that list of languages just
Came
grew
in
and
handy.
grew.
Of course they come in handy. And of course you have to augment that with your own study. You know, Italian and German were the two
course.
things that I had to really study.
Yeah.
Of course French comes, you know, we're in Canada.
Right. That's true too.
And
Did you speak French in school when you were in Lebanon or no?
No, even though I was the only child who went to an Anglophone school
Oh.
in Lebanon. All my siblings went to a Francophone.
Oh, really?
It's very interesting. Yes, and but the Spanish, of course, I learned it when I was living in Spain. So there you
Convenient.
go. You know,
That's
convenient.
nice.
Convenient.
Amazing. Well, hey, you know what? We're going to go to a short break. We have soprano Isabel Bayrakdarian, who is performing tomorrow night with the MCO. We're going to talk a little bit about the program and what to expect tomorrow night in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. And the temperature has dropped to 17 degrees at the Forks. A little gloomy outside, certainly. We are still here in the Diamond Lane with me, your host, Sarah Jo, and guest soprano, Isabel Bayrakdarian. So happy to have you.
2 sopranos in one room.
Oh my gosh. You know what? We have some really amazing soprano talent that comes to Winnipeg and lives in Winnipeg. I don't know if you know Lara Chikevich. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of her married name, Andriana Chuchman, of course. She just had her Met debut not too long ago. She's kind of from here. Anyway, I've had them both Lara hasn't been in the studio. Lara Chikevich, if you're listening, you need to come on my show. Anyway, but it's a joy and an honor to have you here. Let's talk a little bit before we talk about the program for tomorrow night. You were just mentioning during the break that you've just put down a new recording that's going to be released in the fall. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. It's a record of Armenian sacred music, all dedicated to Mary, Mother of Jesus.
Excellent.
And it was like a very special project that I undertook as a tribute to my own mother, and who introduced the love of singing, the love of church, faith in me. And so it's arranged all again by Serouche, my husband. It was arranged for a female choir and a cello, and the recording involved all women. So it all came out as this, you know, when you're exalting the most celebrated woman of all, might as well women do it.
I'm with you.
So it was just this fantastic, it has an amazing vibe to it. But of course, this is music spanning from the 4th century onward. So it's got a very eternal quality to it. Beautiful. But as I was saying during the break, it's one of the very, very, very few recordings that I've done that I can listen to and not judge myself. Because it is, I feel I'm not creating it. I'm just conducting it in an electrical
sense.
But exactly, in an electrical
current
sense. Yeah. I'm just a vessel for it. I'm just a conduit.
Yes.
And so I just listen to it, and I just am transformed by the eternal quality of it. And you know, a lot of things change when you become a mother too. I think that has a lot to do with my acceptance of everything the way they are, because that's the way they're meant to be.
I love the zenness that I'm feeling right now for me. It's so great. So, hey, after this recording, or once this recording comes out, I'm sure we're going to be playing it a ton here on the station. But for tomorrow night, can you tell us what to expect? We're going to hear a Handel aria, a Hasse aria, and then some Respighi?
Yes. So in the first half, there is a connection to this Handel and Hasse arias. In Handel's time, there were two singers, sopranos, who were constant rivals. Right. It was Francesca Bordoni and Cuzzoni. Cuzzoni was the higher voice soprano, and Bordoni was more like the lyric soprano of today. And they were fantastic singers and great actresses. So they were both vying for Handel and his contemporaries to write the biggest role for them. So when I was doing some research, I found out, my goodness, everything that's written for Bordoni kind of is almost like written for Bayrakdarian. It's like, oh. And
fits your voice.
And then I found out that Bordoni was married to Hasse. And Hasse was writing a lot of things for her. That reminds you of something? My husband writing for me as well.
Amazing.
So I kind of identified a lot with Bordoni. So these two arias are from obscure operas. I mean, Handel, Alessandro, who nobody ever performs Alessandro, the opera. But this is an excerpt from the aria, from the opera, an aria. It really showcases Bordoni. And then we come back to Hasse, and from, again, an obscure opera called Cajo Fabrizio.
Right.
But it's an amazing showpiece for her Bordoni's dramatic abilities as well as vocal prowess. So there's this connection of La Nuova Sirena, or the new siren, who came on the scene and took all the greatest roles. And so this is in the first half. And in the second half, it's Respighi's Il Tramonto. Now, this Il Tramonto is originally written for a quartet.
Right.
So this is the expanded version for chamber orchestra done by Alain Trudel, with whom I recorded this. And it was out last year.
Excellent.
The recording of that one. And so we're going to be performing it. It's very different. And what's interesting is, it will end the program, but when we get, Il Tramonto in Italian means sunset.
Yeah.
When we get out, it will still be sun.
That's true.
Even at 9:30 p.m. in Winnipeg.
So as people leave, it will be it will be ringing in their noggins as they watch the sunset. Take a long walk after you go tomorrow night. You know, in Il Tramonto, it's actually quite, it's very hopeful in the beginning. The text, of these people in love, and then this girl goes to sleep and her lover dies in the middle of the night.
Sleep is
in
quotations.
Well, yes, of course. So he dies in the middle of the night.
Yes.
And then what is she supposed to do but go on? And she just wastes away in this sunset. Yes. And it's Ottorino Respighi, who for me, I mean, he's in my top 10 composers of all time. I mean, just his orchestration. Well, I mean, but this is an Alain Trudel orchestration, but I mean, just the richness in his instrumentation is beautiful.
It's a journey. It's a 15-minute or 20-minute journey, nonstop of just, it's like a mini opera.
Yeah.
Mini opera.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Oh, it's going to be so stunning. Oh, my gosh, I have rehearsal. Oh, why do I have rehearsal? Oh, my gosh. Tomorrow night with the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra, the exquisite Isabel Bayrakdarian. She's going to be performing Hasse, Handel, and Respighi. Also on the program, Ray Vaughan Williams and a little Bela Bartok to round it out. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful night. For more info, themco.ca, or go to our website, classic107.com. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
It's been great being here. Thank you
so much. Oh, my goodness. No, you know what? We need to end this interview with another something that your husband arranged for you. These Sayat-Nova songs. Sayat-Nova meaning King of Songs, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the second movement of these 4 songs is called The Nightingale, and I think it's probably one of the most exquisite moments from that Nightingale Troubadour album that you put out with the MCO.
Thank you so much for saying that, because when we were researching what of Sayat-Nova, because he has many, many, many songs, troubadour songs. And
he's an Armenian poet, musician,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah. And I ran it by my mom. I said, Mom, do you know this? Because I didn't know it. And she sang. I'd never heard her sing this before. She knew it. She sang it. And I cried. And then I said, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And she'd never, ever sung it before, but she knew it. So I personally had to go through a lot of my own crying sessions to get over it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
so emotionally overwhelming. It can be.
I don't know what it is, but it resonates on a very, very, very deep level, this song with me.
So glad we get to play it with you here in the
I
studio.
want to hear it. One of the very few songs, one of the very few tracks I've ever recorded that I don't mind listening to myself singing it.
The exceptional and self-deprecating soprano, Isabel Bayrakdarian, with the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra here in Sayat-Nova's Nightingale.